Good afternoon, everyone. To Rig It On Monday with the coach and Jordan. And we're here live at Big Bite again today. And we're going to talk a little bit about several things. But before we do, Jordan, let me give a quick blast on our Frog Freak deal that we got going. Now, if you hadn't gotten in on this yet, I highly recommend it. For the $39.99, is that correct, Jordan?
Mm-hmm.
You get the decal, you get the frog, you get a bag of the number one on the Dean's list, the Bruised Melon Fighting Frog, 25 count bag, and you get the shirt with the Frog Freak logo on it. Pretty neat looking shirt. If you hadn't saw this, go online at www.bigbitebaits.com/Frog Freak and check it out. But this runs through Thursday. And after Thursday, we'll close orders on this. So if you hadn't got it, you can get online, get it taken care of between now and Thursday. Anyway, just wanted to give a quick brush up on that. We did our show on that last week, and I think Dean had been on earlier talking about it. So anyway, just remember, Frog Freak, you get the shirt, the decal, the Spro Frog from our good friends over at Spro, and then 25 count of Bruised Melon. So anyway, get it while you can. Anyway, that's a good way to put it. Another thing I want to just hit real quickly while I'm doing, we got a new shirt we just put in called a Lime Shock. It's a Big Bite shirt, looks pretty good. It's in lime, it's got the logo on the back. I'm on the front, it's got the logo Big Bite Bait down the middle of the back, just like our white shirt does. Those are available now here at Big Bite Baits as well, so go ahead and get you ordering on one of those too while we're at it. Okay, Jordan, I'll be over there looking at the questions, so go ahead and hit me hard now. Let's do it.
Sure, here's one. Actually, I have two people asking.
All right.
I have Colby Schrader and D Bass Fishing wondering, do we have any new baits coming soon?
Oh, yeah, we got testing grounds. So what's next on the testing grounds? I'm just going to give you a quick blurb. We got the Big Mama. You need to check it out. It's a Yo Mama style bait. We'll be coming up on Testing's ground here shortly. That's our latest and greatest. So anyway, check it out here in the next couple of weeks, and we'll talk more about it. Go ahead.
All right.
We won't talk too much.
My next one comes from Landon. He's wondering, what's a good lure to use in a dirty water river?
I think most guys that fish in a river, and we're going to talk about plastics now. In that dirty water, there's some other things I would probably use as well, but some type of flipping, pitching type bait, like a Fighting Frog, a Yo Daddy maybe, Yo Mama possibly, Kamikaze Crawl, something that's compact that I can pitch around like blowdowns and wood in the river, that type of thing. I think that's what I would probably recommend.
Okay, good deal. I'll have one more and then let you go.
All right, good.
The T. Sutherland is wondering, what is your go-to Carolina rig bait and what time of year do you use that the most?
Actually, I don't really have a go-to Carolina rig bait that I use. I try to do it kind of seasonally. It's kind of crazy. I know like in the spring, I like to use a lizard on the Carolina rig a lot. And then as it gets out into the heat of the summer, I'm either going to put like a worm on there or put like a brush hog, what we call a creature bait type bait on there, some type of creature on my Carolina rig. And then into the fall, I like to throw, believe it or not, I like to put a Senko on the Carolina rig. Seems to do real well. A trick, what we call a trick stick here at Big Bite. So that can kind of give you some different ideas of how to use your Carolina rig in different situations. But that's basically would be the best way I could sum that up for you for sure.
All right.
So today what we're going to talk about, lots of people have been asking lots of questions, and we've been hearing lots of feedback and talk about, throwing swim baits in the shallow grass and that type of thing. And two that we wanted to highlight today that we feel like that we have that do really well in the grass, and I just wanted to kind of touch on, is the Pro Swimmer and the Cane Thumper. And I want to talk a little bit about both of those today, give you kind of an idea a little bit about them and how you can rig them and how you can use them. So that's what I thought we'd talk about today. Pro Swimmers and Cane Thumpers. And I know here at Lew-Fall, the water's up high right now, so there's lots of guys that are doing some shallow angling, and this is one of the ways they're attacking the fish. Let's talk about the Cane Thumper first. It comes in 3 sizes. It comes in a 5-inch, a 4-inch, and a 3.5-inch. It comes in 20 colors. One thing that both the baits have that I think is kind of unique is that they have a hook pocket on them. So you can use just about any type of hook that you want to and keep the head covered up to where you can keep it weedless. Thus it makes it real easy to swim through all types of cover. And then you got your Pro Swimmer, which is a little different than the Cane Thumper because it's more ribbed and it has a little different action. And it comes in 4 sizes, a 2.8, a 3.3, a 3.8, and a 4.8. And it comes in 18 colors. So there's lots of variety there, and there's lots of colors that you can choose from. So I just wanted to kind of talk just a minute about some of the ways that you can rig these and possibly use them. I mean, obviously, I'm going to start off with a swim jig because we're going to be shallow fishing, and lots of people are using a swim jig, and it just works really good on the back of a swim jig. You can use the Cane Thumper or the Pro Swimmer, but I prefer the Pro Swimmer myself in using a swim jig to kind of get you that look. This is just a typical 3/8 ounce swim jig rigged up with a 3.8 Pro Swimmer, and it looks really nice and has a really good action. So if you're one of the guys that wants to swim and look in action, then this is what you want to go to, obviously. And I know a lot of guys like to use a craw type action on their swim jig as well. So you can go either way. But that's a good way to rig it. And like I said, I've just got it rigged up on a standard swim jig. It makes a really nice presentation. Okay, so while we're on the Pro Swimmers, let's talk about other ways to rig a Pro Swimmer. One of our pros, Mike McClellan, likes to do this. He uses our swimmer head, and he rigs our smaller type variety, the 2.8 and the 3.3 on a swimmer head, and it gives you a real nice bait, like if you're fishing along riprap and that type of thing, or even along the edges of shallow grass, you can throw this, and it gives you a real good presentation. And I think it's real useful, especially if you want to downsize and keep your bait compact and small. And then the other thing that I like, and me and Jordan, we talked about this a lot, is I like to use a flashy swimmer on mine. And it just gives you a real good presentation. You got your swimming effect with a little flash under it. It helps to simulate that there's maybe more than one bait fish in the area, and seem to get lots of strikes on that. That seems to work really well with our bait, especially the Pro Swimmer. So that's one of the ways I would recommend trying it. I've had some success doing this with this, definitely. And then you got your Cane Thumpers. Let's talk about the ways to rig a Cane Thumper. Well, you obviously can use what we call a belly weighted hook on your Cane Thumper. This is kind of the old school way. This was the first way everybody was able to rig it in the beginning before we came up with other ideas. And it works really well. And it helps that bait. But the easiest way to rig this thing, to be honest with you, is just Texas rig it. I like to put a rubber on mine though and peg it down and just swim it. And it works really well. Jeff Creek gave me this idea. It works really well. Seems to work, tremendously well. And they hit it. You can use a better hook. You can get a little better hook set with it. You don't have to kind of lean into him. You guys can pop him a little bit on this. So that's another way to talk about, fishing it that works really well. So those are some of the ways I thought worked, pretty neat as far as how to use it and ways to use it. And I'm sure there's other ideas, and you can go 1,000 different directions. You can go to Alabama rigs, but I was just wanting to kind of keep it simple and shallow today. And so that's some of the ideas I would definitely recommend to you. The other thing you might want to do is put a chatterbait out there with one on it. If your water's stained up, might be another avenue to look at. But here it's kind of getting away from the chatterbait time of year, so we're looking more toward shad spawn, mayfly hatch type environment, and this seems to work a lot better. Okay, Jordan, I know we probably have some questions, so let's talk about some of those today while we're going here.
Sure. Can we get a close up of the hook slots on both baits, compare and contrast?
Oh yeah, very well. So I'll give you a close up here. This is the hook slot on the Pro Swimmer. This is a 4.8, and you can see that hook laying in there. I'm gonna ease it down where you can see it, and you pull it right back up, and it really keeps that hook covered. And the point, as you rub that, you can feel the point to pick you up right there. All right, and the same thing on the Cane Thumper. Here it is on the old belly weight hook, and you can't even hardly see the head, but there it is, and it slides up in that hook pocket. Makes it totally weedless. It works really well. I think it's a good idea, and it's something that that we have here at Big Bite that a lot of people doesn't have. It's been very successful for us.
Okay, good deal.
Good, yeah.
Now I have a
sure.
question from, let's see, David Bloom, wondering, are you bouncing this on the bottom or cranking it like a spinnerbait?
I like to just keep it moving nice and still. Now, we basically, you've talked about this, just fire it up in the grass and just slow roll it out of the grass. And sometimes if you bump something, you might want to kill it for a second, let it just dangle down and pick it right back up, but you can just kind of move it, and it seems to work really well. It just imitates a shad swimming around the grass for sure. Or better yet, probably another way to fish it is really good. Of course, it's hard to do if you got a partner on a boat, but a lot of times I'm out there by myself, I'll parallel the grass. I'll throw down in front of the grass bed and bring it back to me, and the fish will come out of the grass and get it. So that's another way you can actually attack them with it.
Okay, good deal. One more for you. Clayton Phillips is wondering, what's a good clear water bait for picky fish?
A good clear water bait for picky fish. That's a good question. He's gonna stump me almost on this one now because I don't fish a whole lot of clear water. I think in clear water you use a clearer bait with sparkles. That seems to be what I have. I'm not an authority by any chance, but what I in talking to people around the United States over the last 7 or 8 years with fishing, a lot of people, they like a sparkly, cleary type bait. I know that when we went up north to smallmouth fish, that's what the smallmouth like to bite, and that water was extremely clear. I know that like on Lake Martin here in Alabama, it's a real clear lake. A lot of the guys use like the Chick Magnet, and they use a bright watermelon red looking color, watermelon gold, something that's kind of flashy. So that's probably how I would answer your question. I'm not going to guarantee that's totally right, because like I said, that's something we don't see a whole lot of, but I think if you start there, you'll be all right.
Okay, one last question from Sunfish. Do we have an online store where they can get cane thumpers?
Yes, we do. You can buy any of our bait at www.bigbitebaits.com. We have a 24-hour around-the-clock website live. You can buy whatever you want there. Everything that we basically have in our catalogs offered on that website, and it's just a matter of placing your order. Normally those orders will fill the next morning and shipped out, so pretty good turnaround on those.
All right.
Well, that's got it. Next week, I think what we're going to do, Jordan, is go back and have us a question and answer show. We got summer fishing fixing to start. So you guys get your summer questions together. Let's talk a little bit about summer fishing next Monday, and we're just going to have a live forum and talk about different things to do with the summer and how we attack and look and do. So get your thoughts together, and we'll see you next week at the same time.